despierta.
Well, damn. Last thing I get to talk about before I go and pass out for a bit. I think I've done a good job talking about stuff that is pretty lighthearted overall. You know, a Batman cartoon, a movie about giant dancing monsters, and smell fetishes.
It's magical, isn't it? It's still got that smell of sweat and feet. Oh, really big feet.
I had a friend like this once. She didn't make it. Haha! Oh, family-friendly fun. So how about we switch it up and talk about existential dread and trauma? Solar Ash is a game that caught my attention last year while browsing the Game Pass. I didn't know anything about it going in. I was like a toddler. I just saw pretty colors and shapes and really wanted to suck on some titties. That last part had nothing to do with the game, I just wanted to share that. So, how about we talk about this game, its rather mixed reputation, and how this game sadly faded into obscurity.
A little bit. What a bonehead. But at least he got to keep his soul. Introducing a world where you take more than life. You take the soul. Soul Reaver.
Oh boy, here we go. Solar Ash was developed by Heart Machine and published by Annapurna Interactive. The game was announced in 2019 under the name
We asked 100 married men, what game would you hate for your wife to walk in on you playing?
Solar Ash Kingdom, Steve. Though the game had been on development since 2016 actually. It started off as a PC exclusive, but by 2020 they revealed that the game would come to PlayStation 4 and 5, and then later on it came for fucking everything. Fuck exclusivity, I want to play Ratchet and Clank on a Switch, damn it! You might have noticed that this game was on development around the time the world was this, which meant that the game had to be delayed from its original release. At first the game was scheduled to come out on October 2021, but it ended up releasing on December 2021 for the Epic Games Store, PlayStation 4 and 5, and then a year later it came to Steam, and then another year later it came for everything else. God, way to make a gamer wait. Alright, that's all the shit you would find on Wikipedia. Aren't I such a diligent little boy? Now we get into the real shit. Despite the game being announced in 2019, Alex Preston and the rest of the team were surprisingly quiet during the time between announcement and release. That's because they were refining the technology used in the game, which to me is a very valid excuse to not blabber about your project when you aren't even sure if it will work properly at launch. Despite that, Solar Ash was actually a part of Sony's State of Play on February 2021, and was even a big part of issue 359 of the gamer magazine Edge on May 2021. So it's not like it didn't have any publicity, just not as much as it probably should have. Nobody was gonna read that magazine shit, man. Gamers can't read. Say, 3D, right? The main thing Heart Machine is known for is for their first game, which ended up being a smash hit, Hyper Light Drifter, which most of you might know because Drifter himself showed up in Indie-Cross. I've never played Drifter, but after playing Solar Ash, I definitely want to try it out. HLD was made with the Game Maker engine, which, from the sounds of it, was not something the people making it enjoyed using for the most part.
Do you miss Game Maker at all? Ha! No. Ooh. I do not. I do not.
So for their next game, they decided to switch things up and use the Unreal Engine 4, which might have been a big change, but it was one that seemed to be a welcomed one. It wasn't all sunshine and blowjobs though. They still had to refine things, like attack animations and making sure the game didn't make you want to puke. But it all worked out in the end, and the game came out to rather middling reviews. More on that later. And that's how this game came into being. Nothing incredibly exciting, but hey, anything made during the pandemic is bound to give some interesting stories. Oh, and speaking of stories...
僕は何を手に入れ、何を失ったのだろう。
PlayStation.
Ah, so here's where my depression went. Solar Ash tells the story of Ray, a Void Runner who is looking to stop the Ultravoid, a massive black hole, from consuming her planet. While inside of the black hole, you must find your missing teammates and defeat giant monsters in order to activate the Star Seed, a device capable of collapsing the Ultravoid and save everyone. And that's all I'm willing to say about the plot. Look, this is one of those games that you really need to experience yourself since it tells a very personal story that I'd much rather not spoil for you. I'm sorry guys, but I'm just not one of those YouTubers that spoon feeds you every bit of information and gives an opinion that you will later steal and make your own without ever playing this game. I just guess you'll have to watch every other reviewer on this site but me. A pity. But to give a bit more context, here's something from the game director himself.
Well, I'll just say very briefly, there's, the stories that I'm interested in working on, the stories that I try and create, and the things that I'm invested in are things about trauma, personal trauma, and kind of the ways you do or do not work that out one way or another. And this game certainly, it's about that cycle of trauma and if you can break it or not, and how you do that and how you treat others in that process. So those are some core themes without spoiling too much.
So yeah, that's all you get from me, dog. It's cool though. It's not like the story is the only thing this game has going for it. Take a look at this.
Mario is out of this world. In Super Mario Galaxy, only for Wii. Rated E for everyone.
Ah, now this is where the fun begins. Describing the gameplay of Solar Ash is a bit weird. While I'm not a comparisons guy, I much rather let a piece of media speak for itself. Since the developers brought them up, I think it's fair to talk about them. But I'll do them one at a time. The biggest draw for this game is obviously the massive boss battles inspired by games like Extinction and Sonic Frontiers. Alright, jokes aside, obviously this part of the game was inspired by Shadow of the Colossus. Though while it shares the scale of the bosses, it does not share the pace. In Shadow of the Colossus, Wonder is holding on for dear life, slowly climbing his way up these magnificent monsters to deliver slow, violent stabs. Meanwhile, Ray is fucking booking it, having to destroy these pressure points before the monster heals itself and you have to climb it up all over again. I have to say, this was probably the funnest part of the game for me. Not only because I feel like a coked up cockroach climbing up a giraffe, but also because the movement of this game is great. So, while in Hyper Light Drifter you had to Tokyo Drift, in Solar Ash you have to Solar Skate. Obviously inspired by Jet Set Radio, and I must say that the way Ray controls felt wonderful. She's fast as fuck, but never unwieldy or like she's going too fast. She felt gracious and focused, which makes sense since one of the things that inspired the way she moves was figure skating. That is amazing, by the way. It makes her feel more unique as a character. I had a blast just skating around and bouncing on these solar ash clouds. Yeah, that's why the game is called that. Probably. Maybe. I don't know, I didn't check. And since we're inside of a black hole, I gotta say that the way that the world felt to explore was great. Even if it was my least favorite thing to do in the game. The last big inspiration for Solar Ash, oddly enough, was Mario Galaxy. Again, with how fucky the gravity is in this place and the fact that you have to go fast while climbing giant monsters, it makes sense that they spent a good percentage of development time making sure you didn't fall to your death immediately. And while I enjoy just running around and seeing how beautiful this hellscape is, actually having to find stuff got a little bit annoying after a while. The game has a very explore around and see if you can find cool stuff mentality to its exploration. And while that can be very cool, it did get on my nerves after a bit, and I had to look up a guide to find some of the secrets, or to follow the steps needed to continue the side missions. Obviously, this is more of a problem if you're trying to 100% the game like I did. But if you're just trying to have fun, yeah, no, just skate around like a maniac and have fun. I gotta give props to the people in charge of making this game feel as good as it did. Obviously, there's a ton more people to thank, but these are the ones that I can immediately get. Making sure the gravity in this game wasn't a massive disaster must not have been an easy task, and I'm so glad it worked as well as it did. The only other thing I would bring up that it wasn't as great as I would have liked is probably the combat with smaller enemies. I don't know, I just thought it was fine. Nothing spectacular or anything, it was just okay. But that's just a nitpick at most. Now let's move on to something a little less exciting, shall we?
Have everything you need to live the young, hip, jet-grind radio lifestyle. You skate, you groove, you bomb bricks, and run from the man.
Jet-grind radio hungry, fast, ready people, team.
Oh. How quaint. The music for Solar Ash was handled by Trope Gamach, Joel Korelitz, Disaster Piece, and Azuria Sky. And yeah, it's neat. I'm sorry, but honestly, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's good for what it's going for, having this depressing and ethereal feeling that enhances the scenes, but would I listen to it outside of the game? I don't think so. Some of the songs are great, but if I were to take them out of the context of the story, they just wouldn't hit as well. What I can praise without any ifs or buts is the voice acting. I'll only highlight the main two characters in this game since, again, spoilers, but I want to let it be known that everyone did a great job. Which is surprising since voice acting was a late addition to the game. At first it wasn't going to have any, but I am so glad they changed their minds. So, let's begin with the main Void Runner herself, Ray, played by Frida Wolf, who gives what I can only describe as the best performance of her entire career. You genuinely buy the urgency and despair she goes through, trying her best to save everyone. Damn, she acted her ass off and barely anyone brings up this role of hers. She did great.
All of us, we've taken on so much coming here. The idea that we might fail, let all those people down. I don't think Verse could handle it. I'm sorry this happened to your people. But you have to move on. That's enough! Send me back or get out of my way! Truth is what I make it! I can bring them all back!
Lastly is Sid, played by Pilar Uribe. Sid was constantly described as your concerned aunt by the team, and I can see what they mean by that. She's very sweet and supportive towards Ray, and balances out the edginess with some levity. She also does their robot thing of not understanding figurative speech, but in a way that I find charming and not obnoxious. Good job, Pilar.
Your safety is paramount to the mission, Ray. And thank you for restoring our local memory logs.
No problem.
Incorrect. There are still problems. The starseed is non-operational, and your planet is in peril.
No, it's just an expression. I just meant, I'm glad you're here.
Ah, we understand. Our memories are still fragmented. But each set of data logs that you upload is helping us recall what transpired. We've always got time for our favorite Void Runner.
Man, that was easier than I thought. Now to talk about something I think everyone will agree is universally good.
You can't stop us!
Yeah!
Hugs and kisses, baby.
Jet Set Radio Future. Tune into the new revolution.
Rated T for Teen. New and only on Xbox.
Ah, now this is great stuff. By far the most striking thing about Solar Ash is the art style. I mean, fuck man, look at this. I've said a ton of times that I'm not an art guy, so me explaining why things look good isn't my forte. But fuck it, I might as well try. The way this game looks is like something surreal and alien. And given that we are literally playing as an alien inside of a black hole, I'd say it did its job well. The characters have such nice details like the markings on Ray's body or Sid's weird tentacle arm. Plus, the side characters have so much personality. Same with the monsters and bosses you fight. I like how they look like they're made out of tar and bone. It's great. However, the thing that really steals the show is the environments. Jesus Christ, man, look at this. It's already unique enough that we are literally skating on clouds, but the ruins on top of them and the other environments all look fantastic. The vibrant colors, the texture, the atmosphere, all the artistic buzzwords. Props to the artists and modelers and animators. You all did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate it immensely. And well, that's all I have to say about Solar Ash as a game. But as I finish talking, I have to ponder. What was the legacy of this game? And did it deserve better?
Shadow the Hedgehog, Juni got the Jubonichi on sale.
Oh boy, and here I thought the sadness would end. Solar Ash debuted, and with it, people gave it generally positive reviews. But other than that, it wasn't as big of a hit as Hyper Light Drifter was. Funny, considering that both games share the same universe. It's not a sequel or anything, it's more so a story that takes place in the same world, but they never really connect with one another. Another thing to point out is that many people compared the two games a lot, saying that Drifter was better and Solar Ash was a disappointment. While I haven't played Drifter, I do have to ponder if those people realized that they were comparing apples and oranges. Yes, the games are made by the same studio, but they are going for completely different vibes and styles. But even so, does the fact it didn't become a massive success matter? The game, at its core, is an art piece done by Alex Preston and the rest of the team at Heart Machine. They wanted to share with the world a story that is deeply personal, and you can feel it, not just by seeing the cutscenes, but also by playing. The sadness, the despair, the heartbreak, it's all there. But once you do it, once you reach the end of the game, you feel hope. Tragedy will always happen. It's a part of life. But as long as you have others there to help you, as long as you're there to help yourself, all will be well. And to be honest, I don't think I can give a number score to something like that. I do want Ray to show up in Indie Cross though. There is a giant monster being a bitch based on the Unreal Engine. Ray's whole thing is dunking on giant monsters, and her game was made on Unreal Engine. Do it, Morrow! And that's that. Thank you for watching. Like I said at the beginning, this is my last video for a bit while I work on stuff and get my life sorted out. So I hope you really enjoyed these 3 little videos I made. Don't worry, next month I'll give you another barrage of videos to keep you entertained. As always, this has been The Analyzer, and I'll see you all next time. Now where the fuck is Larissa?